Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the New Fashion Conservatives podcast. I'm your host, Justin Phillips. With me, as always, the one and only Shadow Governor Vos.
Robin Voss's strongest soldier.
So tonight we're breaking down the Marquette Law Poll. We're talking about deportations. We're talking about Arctic frost, the voter rolls in Wisconsin, and some fun stuff to wrap it up for you. But first, Shadow Gov, the Marquette Law Poll didn't answer the one big question on everyone in Wisconsin's mind and everyone in the NBA world's mind is, did Giannis travel?
Well, yes, he did. He
Yeah.
did. Unfortunately, he did. But the Marquette Law Poll did not poll that.
Yeah.
Too quick of a turnaround. However, it's kind of a boring Marquette Law Poll.
It
kind of underwhelming.
Yeah.
Last Marquette Law Poll, they had polled some of the national issues, and we're like, come on, give us the governor primary. That's what we really want. That's what we really want. And we kind of get this poll, and it's just kind of like, huh, really? This is basically, before we get into it, you could sum it up with no one's paying attention right now to state politics, really at all. Which is unfortunate, which is why we have the podcast to begin with, so that you constantly are inundated with state politics, so that you can never, ever miss a beat.
Yep. Never feel uninformed as long as you're listening to the New Fashion Conservatives and liking, sharing, dropping us that 5-star where you can. Yeah, you're right, though. The Marquette poll takeaway is there wasn't much to take away. So the first one that really stood out to me, though, if there was one, was the way voters talked about their preference for judicial candidates, talking about issues likely to come before them if elected. As it turns out, something we've suspected for a while, 83% of voters want judges to discuss the issues that are likely to come before them. 17% say they should avoid, 1% says they don't know.
And Dan Lennington had a good tweet about this that I think kind of explains the situation we're in a little bit, where if you're a serious conservative candidate for a judicial office, I'm not sure what you do with this information. Perhaps this is why the framers didn't think judicial elections were a great idea. The message from the mob is basically, tell me how you're going to rule. I guess the answer, it's civic education, but I fear that battle was lost about 50 years ago. Maybe there are some serious people out there who can give a better take on this dreadful situation. So to begin with, I agree.
Yep.
Like, first of all, I think judicial elections suck. They're just not great. If you really want to talk about judicial ethics, it's just politics today is just not a great environment to do that in. And it will inevitably delve into this political madness and spending frenzy that we've found ourselves in the last couple of years. So I agree that we should go back to those days where judicial ethics reigned supreme. However, one thing that I have tried to do extensively is live in reality, not see the world for how I want to see it, but to see it for how it is. And the reality is, looking at the poll, the poll said, should judicial candidates discuss during the campaign issues likely to come before them if elected, so voters know what the candidates stand for? Or should they avoid talking about such issues in order to seem to be prejudging the issues? 83% said talk about the issues.
Yep.
So it doesn't get much more clear. This is not like a 55-45. Only one person refused. 83% said yes, tell me the issues. Now, the left has no morals. They have no, limiting principles.
Yes.
So this just allows them carte blanche to do what they please. But conservatives, we try to maintain our principles as much as we can. And I'm not saying we jettison them completely. I'm just saying there are shrewd and tactful ways to talk about the issues without prejudging cases. Okay? So I am very adamant on encouraging our judicial candidates, present and future, to read the writing on the wall and realize where we are at, see the world for what it is and not what you want it to be.
100% behind you. I think it's something we've been talking about and we've known for a while now. We know that the Dan Kelly, the Brad Schimmel playbook isn't going to work. So you might as well just kind of steer into the skid. You know, right? I wish we had a higher level of debate in this country, but then again, I wish we had an honorable opposition instead of the broken brain wine mom, anti-Trump, anti-MAGA, anti-Republican, celebrating Charlie Kirk's death left that we have.
Like, how do you debate that?
Right.
How do you debate high judicial ethics with that? You don't. You simply don't. Mm-hmm. And yes, the debate should have probably been probably solved 50 years ago through education.
Yep.
Well, guess what? The horses left the barn. This is way, way, way out in front of us. We are not all of a sudden going to educate the populace into realizing that these norms of being a citizen, we've completely lost. And frankly, we have ourselves to blame for that. Yeah. We as citizens, we just don't act like citizens. We are political consumers, not actual citizens. I mean, not saying everybody, but the mass majority of people see politics as kind of like a game, and that's what it's become, instead of actual having a responsibility, a civic duty, if you will, besides just voting.
Yep.
You have a civic duty to actually keep up on what's happening and such. So yes, we need reality checks. Candidates need reality checks. I hope our candidates do that. And I am not hopeful, but there's a sliver of me that says, you can only ignore reality for so long at your own peril. And so I just hope we don't have to learn another hard lesson.
That is to say, conservatives have been ignoring it for a while on our Supreme Court races. And even though we've been a little bit critical of Maria Lazar and her announcement video, we did get famous on a left-wing attack outfit, cited that, but they also seem to be getting ahead of Maria Lazar starting to talk about the issues. So I think they're just kind of anticipating that this is the direction that campaign's going to go, and we'll have to see.
Well, I can't say I'm flattered by the article, but I guess I am a little bit. I was not, and we kind of discussed this earlier, I was hoping that I was not going to be legitimized by the left first. Hopefully our own side was going to legitimize us first. Mm-hmm. But I suppose I'll take it. I'll take it or leave it. I'll take it. So yes, we were, mentioned in some Den opposition research about how Maria Lazar's rollout was not great. And that's just honest. I don't want to lie. I don't want to lie to listeners. Okay. One thing I really hope that we can, and not that we're not that big. So I think we're, as the cocaine dealer in Milwaukee said, I think we're small potatoes. Well, he said small potatoes. But I want to stay truthful. I don't want to lie and try to embellish things or over exaggerate as much as I can. Mm-hmm. But I'll take the note while we can. That'll probably be the first thing if we were to do new fashion conservatives. I guess that'll be the first thing that pops up for a while.
Yep. So there was another part of the law poll that you kind of mentioned in the beginning that people just aren't quite paying attention, and that's the fact that a majority of voters on both sides, I want to say it's somewhere between 7 and 10 and 8 of 10 voters, haven't made a decision on who they're going to vote for in the governor's race next fall. And of course, it's a year away, so that's kind of to be expected. But there was a little funny part that came out of that, and that was Francesca Hong, who immediately jumped out and declared victory.
As well she should have.
As the front runner in the race with a mind-blowing 6% of the polled respondents. 6% picked Francesca Hong first, and that means, according to her, she is in a lead in the new Marquette Law Poll. Frankie is out front.
Well, it's funny. Who do we remember how many people actually took the poll?
I think it was close to 700.
I think it was 800 because there were 700 people that voted. They were unsure or they wanted to hear more about issues. So I think it was something like 850.
Sure.
So like we are talking, if you're doing 850, 10% is 85.
Yep.
Half of that, you're in the 40s. So 40 people out of, 800 plus people chose Francesca Hong, but that did not stop her from saying, we're leading. We are leading the field. And kudos to her.
Mm-hmm.
As the political hack that I am, I would have done the same thing. Take the victory lap. Leave no crisis, leave no opportunity, wasted.
Right.
So good for her.
Mm-hmm.
I applaud her efforts. I would like to see her do even better. And the rest of the field, now granted, the rest of the field is, to put it lightly, within the margin of error.
Yes.
So there is a lot of room for anybody to kind of make up the difference. And I think that there will be obviously some candidates that will close in, but maybe if Francesca Hong can just capitalize on the Zoran Mondani incoming win, which will be next week already?
Yeah, already.
Yeah. So maybe that'll propel her a little bit extra, that little extra kick in the pants to the campaign to kickstart some more fundraising. Actually do some bigger ads. I don't know. We'll see. The sky is the limit, I suppose, for the socialist left.
So for those wondering, in total, there were 81% of Democrat voters were undecided or had no candidate preference at the time of the poll. Francesca Hong, like we said, holds a 6% advantage. Behind her, Sarah Rodriguez.
Well, let's be clear. She holds the advantage. It's a 1% difference.
Yes.
A total of
yes.
6%. Just to be clear.
Yeah. So Francesca Hong leads Democrat candidates with 6%. Sarah Russell Rodriguez coming in at 4%. David Crowley at 3%. Kelda Roy's at 3%. Missy Hughes at 2%. Ryan Sternad with less than 0.5%. And Brett Halsey with no support in this poll.
Well, first of all, kudos to Sternad for having 0.5% above Halsey, who was already technically run before. So it just shows the groundswell support for the beer at high school athletics. Yep. I think he's got a strong chance. Looking forward to seeing how he's going to break through. He's already not from the bottom. He's now moved up. So
his 0.5% is the 1 or 2 18-year-olds that the Marquette Law got in the poll that would want to drink a beer at their high school game.
That won't be able to vote probably in this election, actually.
Yeah. So one more thing about Maria Lazar before we move on that I think should also give Republicans or conservatives a bit of a bright spot is, so her name ID is at 15% in the latest Marquette Law School poll. Chris Taylor's is at 16%. And both are minorly underwater, but both have a favorable of 7%. And Maria Lazar has an unfavorable at 8% and Chris Taylor at 9%. So I think that shows that there is a lot of room for Maria and Chris, frankly, to grow and make their case that, no one has quite thrown those partisan labels at them yet.
But who's going to raise more money?
That's a good point. No, I know.
Yeah.
But to have just jumped in the race, to be facing someone like Chris Taylor, who should have at least a little bit better of a name ID, being a state representative and a, Madison liberal progressive firebrand.
She did run for, appeals. So that's not exactly a small office either. So there is probably some of that built in, but at least for now, they're at an even playing field, but we haven't even begun to really ramp.
No, you're right.
That up. Totally. I mean, it's not even November yet. Happy Halloween to all those. Happy Reformation Day, I should say.
Or All Saints Day.
Well, All Saints Day too is, yes, that's we celebrate All Saints Day too.
We like our saints a bit more.
Well, yes, but I just don't pray to saints. They are not intercessories for God. I kind of just go right to the big man. I don't need to pray to Saint Jehoshaphat to grant me a prayer to the big guy. But
if you lose your keys, there's always a saint to go to.
Yeah, true. So what's next?
So there was not a Marquette Law poll, not one that has quite that name ID or that gravitas, but there was a poll that was put out about the same time as the Marquette Law poll.
Conveniently
from a Mandela Barnes super PAC that gave Mandela Barnes 50% of the vote against Tom Tiffany, who got 44%, and 51% of the vote against Tim Michels at 44%, who has not declared or shown his intention to run for office, even though apparently he has been, flying out to D.C. to court President Trump's opinion. But right now, in this poll, the net favorables for Barnes are +3. I'm going to just let that one hang out there for a sec. Then Tom Tiffany at -2 and Michels at -10. And it really says something that you have one set of polls where candidates haven't made that big of an impact. But here, Mandela Barnes is already at 50% against both of these candidates. How can both be true?
Well, I'll tell you something that isn't true right off the rip.
Yeah.
And first of all, Tim Michels he's not running. Okay, and first of all, the whole DC thing, I had heard from a little birdie that he actually was unaware that this was even a thing. Like, he was obviously in DC for some other personal stuff, but all the manufactured narrative, that he's in DC to court the president's opinion and stuff. Apparently, according to a little birdie, that was all manufactured. And that he was like, what? How do they even know about this? How did they even know I was in DC?
So someone saw him
he's just playing coy.
Okay.
Or he's just playing coy. But we've now heard both things, where we've heard that, he went to DC to court the president to see if is a real thing. And I now have heard that that's a complete fabrication. It's just coincidence, and that he's actually not considering another run. So I guess we'll take it's someone else's word against someone else's word. So I have no deep inclination, but it is interesting nonetheless. It is of course, Mandela Barnes internal poll. So take that with a heaping
that has
truckload of salt.
Virtually no crosstabs.
No crosstabs. And I would also like to bring up another poll. I'm just going to list. I'm not going to say what it is, but this was a poll. It says 51% of registered Wisconsin voters support Democrat Mandela Barnes. 41% support Republican Ron Johnson. Okay. And that was from 2022. Okay.
So it was in an election year.
Yep.
Closer to the election date than than we currently are, which is just over a year.
And now this was, let's see, this would have been, what is 8/17?
That would be right after
that is August.
Yeah, that would be August. Would be right after the primary.
So this was, yes, and this is
actually the first poll out of the gate. Then
correct. And so this would have been after they had done a hypothetical poll in June, and it was actually much closer. So at least in this poll, Mandela had expanded his lead. So we've been here before. Mandela Barnes with a nice lead against a generic Republican or just a Republican in general. So if that's kind of where we're starting at, I'm not worried. I'm not too worried. Mandela Barnes has got, and we've said this before, Mandela Barnes he's damaged goods. He's
very damaged.
He's got lots of oppo on him, and the oppo book is still not completely used up, and I'm sure there are plenty of consultants chomping at the bit to be able to unleash the full potential and to put the final stake in Mandela Barnes' political career. So I guess we'll see if he just takes the dive.
No, I think this is his way of softening up his announcement that, look, I'm the one who already has polling showing I can beat these candidates, whereas
the big candidates,
whereas the other people are in single digits.
Yeah,
I know that's apples to oranges, but
I guess I really don't think that there's. I mean, if you're Sarah Rodriguez, if you are Francesca Hong, I'm sure you could commission an internal poll tomorrow that shows that you have 52% against any Republican on there. So like, this is it's all an optics game. It's all, I'm the best candidate. I'm the most viable donors. And it's also for the donors, of course.
100%.
So we'll see if it works. And if you're Mandela, you can afford to come in a little bit later. You don't have to come in right away because of your name ID. maybe you're fundraising. I don't know how well of a fundraiser he is, but so he can afford to hang back a little bit.
Yeah. So you mentioned Halloween, and I know for the folks who are listening, probably a little disappointed that we're not on video right now, because you would see Shadow Governor Vos celebrating Halloween in his Robin Vos mask, crown, and cape.
Mm-hmm. No kings. No kings.
Yes. And me dressed as Michael Scott from the classy Christmas episode.
Very nice.
Yeah, with full red velvet jacket.
It was either the Shadow Governor Vos outfit, or it was the American Psycho. I do love me an American Psycho outfit. Hair slicked back with the little clear jacket, doing the hip to be square. Anyway, great movie, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do want to see us on video, we would love to have a sponsor sponsor the show, so we can get into the black, and then maybe make some additional investments into the show. So
bringing you the best product.
I should also probably develop the quote unquote marketing plan that we would even charge for sponsors. So I'll have to work on that. I shouldn't be advertising sponsorships if I don't have prices.
We'll do this on video, and I will look like a NASCAR driver.
Yeah.
For sponsors. I
also have, it's funny. I bought some stuff for a disguise. Come on, I'm not going to show my real face, at least right now. So I have a disguise that I'm putting together in case that we were actually to do this. And I bought some stuff for that.
It's a Groucho Marx.
No, I can't.
Glasses and mustache.
No, it's much stupider. I think it's awesome personally, but anyway, I won't get into it much more than that, but we can talk about that later. But back to the actual costumes.
Actual costumes. Wisconsin, University of Wisconsin, Eau Claire College Republicans had a little fun on X the other day, posting up their costumes. One of them dressed as ICE arresting another CR. And let me tell you, the left wing pearl clutching was incredible. And hat goes out to Dan Schaefer for once again feigning outrage over something so silly as a couple of college kids in costume. I mean, Dan has already posted that the young Democrats and college Democrats have released statements condemning this post, because how dare they enjoy what they voted for?
So, yes. And here's an article. Area Democrats condemn hateful, indiscriminatory photos posted by UW-Eau Claire College Republicans. Give me a break. Okay. One student was dressed as an ICE agent, and in a photograph, he was seen arresting a woman dressed as a stereotypical Latino immigrant, which it's kind of hard to see.
Did that article rudely misgender?
I mean, it was a woman.
Okay.
But it's kind of hard to see what she's she's wearing like a sleeveless t-shirt
and
with
like
jeans and a bandana. So like
she looks like she could just as easily be going to a Kid Rock concert.
Also, it's definitely not, it's kind of hard to see from the exact photo, but I'm pretty sure she's also wearing, okay, maybe that's not an American flag bandana, because that wouldn't be accurate. It'd be probably a foreign flag. So
we're doing more analysis on this than
probably necessary, but Democrats from the 3rd Congressional District, the chair, William Garcia, said this type of hateful rhetoric has no place on college campus. To trivialize the unlawful arrest and detention of people of color is a despicable act that perpetuates fear and harm in our communities. Many people of color, including U.S. citizens, live under the threat of racial profile and warrantless actions by immigration authorities. Yada, 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 yada. Crying. Guys, it is a costume. I mean, but it's clearly students. I mean, the guy's wearing like one of those kind of like weighted vests or something that like people will sometimes wear to maybe work out or something. Or he could have just literally bought it on the internet. Okay,
but let's be clear. Dan Schaefer, college Republicans, or excuse me, college Democrats, 3rd Congressional District Democrats, none of them condemned any of the costumes that were a dead or zombie Charlie Kirk.
No.
That took place. Like, just the hypocrisy.
I don't care.
Right.
I honestly, I hate it when we say the word hypocrisy, because we know they're hypocritical, but like, they just don't care. So I don't care what they have to say about. And frankly, I like the outfit. I wish I could go. I wish I could go down to downtown Waukesha with an ICE outfit on and be an officer. The only problem for me is I'd probably dress up as an officer and be a little bit too accurate. And then I'd probably look like an actual officer, and then I might actually get stabbed or something. So I don't want that, of course. So go cry me a river. It was funny. Take a little bit of a joke, you know. Not everything has to be so serious, bro. Okay. And lighten up a little bit. The deportations will continue in the meantime.
Yep.
So,
but in another laughably kind of stupid article, we had one from the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel just a couple days ago as well, by, I believe it was Dan Bice, Molly Beck, and Mary Spicuzza. So this whole thing, this Democrat talking point that they published about Maria Lazar and Tom Tiffany facing criticism after attending events with a 2020 election denier. 3 bylines to concoct an article that was basically written by the Democratic Party of Wisconsin. And we know that the Journal Sentinel writers, especially Molly Beck, especially Mary Spicuzza, Dan Bice, are no more than stenographers for the Democratic Party of Wisconsin.
And not that we haven't said this before, but this one is especially bad. It is quite literally, Dem Oppo, like they figured out that General Michael Flynn was at this thing. Oh, yeah. Tom Tiffany, Maria Lazar at this thing. Here, reporter, look at this. They're at this event. Do you want my comment?
Yeah.
And then the Journal's like, okay, here's the comment. Like, do they not realize at all that, like, if a Republican attends event presented by other Republicans? Yeah. Or, well, for example, I was just to say, like, so a comms person on a campaign says, oh, Rebecca Cook is doing an event with Bernie Sanders, or maybe she won't do it with Zoran. She's not that stupid. But maybe Francesca Hong does. Are you going to just use quotes from like Republican consultants about how dangerous this is or something? I highly doubt it. I would love to be proven wrong, and I hope the Journal does, but I'm not going to be holding my breath anytime soon. So Shadow Gov, though, another issue hitting close to you, one that you've never talked about on this program before. But right now there's a lawsuit from the Trump administration, from your favorite former MPS administrator and teacher's aide and non-legal immigrant. I like the term illegal foreign national because it hits a little bit harder. Legal immigrant is played out. Even illegal alien, like, yeah, it's true. I like the term illegal foreign national, just to be really drive the point home. But yes, so, you know, I really thought, I think I said this last time we talked about her too, that this is the last time we'll talk about her. She self-deported back to El Salvador, I believe, which is a pretty safe country, safer than Milwaukee, if you think about it, at least right now. And now she has joined a lawsuit. Oh, I should say a bunch of nonprofits wanting to sue the government reached out to her and had her and a bunch of other foreign nationals join a lawsuit to sue the Trump administration for deporting protected crime victims, including herself. So this, again, her name was Yessenia Ruano, former MPS teacher's aide who publicly fought her deportation, but eventually was forced by immigration officers to return to El Salvador with her twin U.S. citizen daughters. Forced? I mean, I guess, yeah, they did force her to self-deport. But so I guess that is technically correct. However, the lawsuit targets policy changes by President Donald Trump's administration that it alleges are running contrary to laws that Congress created specifically to protect them from deportation. And yada, yada, yada. There's a bunch of other stuff in there. But they essentially say that crime victims who are granted a deferred action status, meaning they are allowed to legally stay in the U.S. for a period of time, and victims who have pending T or U visa applications can also not be deported, right away. Now, that has kind of, those policies have kind of been sped up. So some of these people have been deported.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my biggest gripe with this whole thing is there's actually a couple things. And I've said this so many times, and I don't know how often I had to say this, but she was victimized en route to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
She was
That's
not
right. Yep.
She was not victimized in country, then came to the United States to flee because she was a victim. Okay. It's a horrible, obviously, what anything is done to these people. I don't think anyone should be a victim of the horrible atrocities that these coyotes and these people that traffic humans do to them. But we should not. It seems almost kind of backwards. You want the victims that are fleeing this stuff. That's what those applications are for. They had something that happened in their country, and they're fleeing that violence. Whereas she fled because she wanted to have a better life. Congratulations, get a number, get to the back of the line.
There's a way to do it.
Yeah. Okay. And I want to decrease that amount too, but that's a whole nother story. That being said, though, she was victimized en route to the United States. There are hundreds of thousands of people that are probably have horrible things done to them. If we let every single person stay in the United States because they're victimized because of this action of breaking into the United States, we would have untold numbers of them applying for these visas. So at some point you have to say stop. Okay. And she was in country for like 14 years. You couldn't have figured out your visa process in any of those 14 years. And lastly, I will say these people or I won't say they usually, because I don't totally know, but the immigration laws have been so lax and not enforced for so long that there is, I'm sure, an error to, well, it's not going to happen to me. This hasn't been enforced for years. I can just kind of buy my time. I can wait. It'll all work out in the end. I'm not getting deported anytime soon. Therefore, they don't actually take any action. And, well, when the law all of a sudden decides to be enforced, woe is me. And again, this lawsuit is only being brought up by nonprofits, social justice lawyers who just want to sue the government to let unfettered immigration into the country, and not actually because these people are, quote unquote, victims or of the deportation policies of the United States. So, yeah, I don't have any super strong opinions or anything, but that's just my 2 cents.
Right. So, want to shift gears just a little bit. As we've been dealing with at the federal level, there's been an ongoing government shutdown, and thank you to Scott Fitzgerald once again for coming on the show and kind of giving us the rundown of the government shutdown, which is now we're entering the time when it's been shut down so long that certain benefit programs like SNAP for food and whatnot, people are going to start losing those benefits.
The snap-apocalypse, if you will.
Yep. And, I think it's caused a few conversations, but the one that's kind of the Governor Evers has tried to focus on is saying that, Trump should release certain money for the program. Or, he could unilaterally, all of a sudden we need a king now to unilaterally.
Isn't that funny?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We hate kings, but we want the king to take unilateral action outside of Congress to fix the problem.
Yep.
Funny.
There are people that are pointing out that Governor Evers has a few streams of leftover COVID money that could be used to supplement these programs until the Democrats come together and figure out a way to support the continuing resolution that they've supported many times before.
Yeah, Dan O'Donnell was talking about how, and it is, first of all, asinine that it is in 2025 AD that we are still discussing the use of federal COVID funds.
Yes.
Oh my God. You want to talk about the fiscal conservative? Geez, it just makes you riled up so much that we're still talking about COVID funds. But yes, apparently, according to Dan O'Donnell, there's $370 million in COVID funds still chilling in the Governor Tony Evers slush fund. Now, that money, I mean, has been used for numerous type of things, and
including a soccer stadium, the Iron District soccer development that completely stalled out and hasn't been.
Where is it?
Yeah, exactly.
So Tony Evers just dropped in. I think it was a couple million. I don't think it was
14. I think.
Oh, okay. So where? Boy, that's a little bit of a black pill. That Governor Tony Evers can just drop $14 million into a project that doesn't go anywhere.
That hasn't developed. And this was he dropped that money in almost 2 years ago, to the day.
And there's still nothing.
And there's still nothing.
And of course, there was an article done that said,
11 months after the development privately floated the idea of a rare tax exemption, no work has begun on the downtown soccer stadium.
So where does that money go?
Yeah.
Who has it? Is it sitting in a bank account? Did it get funneled somewhere else? Was this just a scam?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I mean, I'm not even a conspiracy theorist on it. Just like, and I guess, again, this is why the governor shouldn't have the powers of the purse, which he doesn't. This is a whole federal thing, federal nonsense, federal slush fund to Democrat governors for their re-elections and to help their buddies, and just horrible way of doing governance. Right. But going back to food share, this money, so it was told to me that yes, he has the money, but technically he can't appropriate it for food share because it's technically never been already appropriated for food share.
Sure.
Because the money's technically already been spoken for. But I'm all for using a political wedge issue.
Yeah.
And, I guess if Tony, the only thing limiting Tony is a couple federal rules. I mean, it hasn't stopped him before, I guess, from breaking other rules. So, what's the difference? Sure, I'm doing the right thing.
But of course, he wouldn't do that because A, he's not running for re-election.
No.
And B, he is being a loyal foot soldier for the Democratic Party right now and trying to blame the Republicans for the shutdown. And actually, as we saw in the Marquette Law Poll, I think it's surprisingly fairly split, the number of Republican people who blame Republicans and Democrats. I say fairly. I think it favors Republicans like 38% to 33%, but you're still not talking about a giant gap in who's to blame for this shutdown. And as we know, if you follow this show, if you follow politics, if you follow anyone on X, you know that the reason all of this is being held up, the reason the government is shut down is because even though Republicans have a simple majority, they do not have the majority they need to pass a continuing resolution, and we need 5 people to step up on the Democrat side. Now, of course, 7 now?
60.
I thought it was 55-45. I thought they were going
we have 53 in the Senate.
But there's been two Democrats.
Oh, okay. So I didn't realize you need 7 Democrats.
Yes.
Unless there's already been 2 Democrats.
Yeah, well, right now, most of the CRs have passed around 55-45. And so you need 5 people from the no side, which are, I think, almost every one of them is a Democrat. They need to step up and reopen the government and do their job.
We're on the same page, but should we just nuke the filibuster?
No.
Why?
I like the Mitch McConnell quote of "a day may come, and that day may come sooner than you think. Then you will come to regret this decision." And I'm butchering that quote.
So what? The Democrats will nuke the filibuster, and then they'll just run over us anyway?
I'm just saying the filibuster exists, so the minority or the majority can't just run over the minority.
I understand. I'm not advocating for one position or the other. I'm just saying, are the Democrats eventually going to do it?
Well, and if they do, again, they're going to realize that Republicans get to play by the same rules that the Democrats do when they're in power, and that's true at any level.
I don't think we need to. Right? I don't think it's that desperate of a situation that we would have to nuke the filibuster. But no. I like hearing. I don't know. It's just interesting because obviously, Harry Reid changed the rules for judicial.
Yeah. And then what happened? Mitch McConnell, during the first 4 years of Trump's first administration, spent every waking moment
and then we
putting judges in.
And then we got Roe v. Wade overturned, and we got a lot of other stuff. And we have the most conservative court ever.
Exactly. And that is thanks to Harry Reid.
But what if the Republicans did it first and we did that? You know what I mean? like, yes, someone breaks the egg first.
Yep.
But
can't put that back in the bottle.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, but what did we get? We got a Supreme Court that theoretically is pretty good out of it. I'm not advocating for a position. I'm just saying something to think about.
When you have one good thing, you tend to overlook the 100 bad things.
Of course. But it's not like, for example, I understand there's, breaking decorum, breaking norms, all of a sudden, it would be a shame, for example, if the Democrats were just like investigating like local Wisconsin, local insiders, consultants, Wisconsin state GOP people, like small potato people in the state party. Like, it would really be unfortunate if the feds were using the full force of the federal government to investigate just individuals for, I don't know, any reason at all.
Do you mean like Operation Arctic Fox?
Okay. Yes. Thank you.
That was a beautiful transition. I have struggled with transitions all night, and Shadow Governor Vos just does it so perfectly. Yes. So I'm not even going to pretend to fully understand Operation Arctic Frost, which was the FBI's code name for a 2022 investigation into efforts to challenge or overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. It was launched in April of 22. And it later formed the basis for Special Counsel Jack Smith's federal charges against Trump in 2023 regarding the Capitol events of January 6th. Now, the only reason I really want to bring this up, and Vicki McKenna posted about it, because in recently released documents by the House Judiciary Committee, her name was on the list of people being investigated. And
Andrew Iverson was on there too.
Yeah. So
Mark Jefferson.
So you have the big names, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Steve Bannon, you've got Seb Gorka, you've got Kellyanne Conway,
Stephen Miller,
everyone. I guess
Peter Navarro.
Yep. Kevin McCarthy,
who went to jail too.
Yeah.
Peter Navarro went to jail.
So all of those folks are on this. But as you're scrolling through it, you would see that Brian Schimming's name is on this. Vicki McKenna's name is on this. These were just regular people, just Wisconsinites who, involved in the Republican Party, being surveyed by by being surveilled by the FBI.
Which goes back to my original point. The norms have been broken. The boats have been burned. The Rubicon has been crossed. Mm-hmm. Okay. Republicans aren't the one investigating random county party officials or even, state GOP or state.
And they definitely didn't use the IRS to go after center right and conservative nonprofits. I understand that.
So there is Vicki McKenna. Yes, she has. She did email, I think, Jim Trupis. I think that was like her thing. Like,
not criminal.
That is not criminal at all. It is, but that was it wasn't just because Vicki was talking on the radio.
Yeah.
Although you could frame it like that politically, but she was talking with the lawyers. And so that's why they probably were investigating her. But again, that isn't illegal to talk with the lawyers. Okay. So unless the feds have another reason to look into her, I would love to see it.
Yep.
Doubt there's anything of substance there. So when we talk about, norms, when we talk about, the left is going to do that to us, I kind of scratch my head like, guys, they're trying to put Vicki McKenna in jail, I guess. Yeah. So,
right.
Just take that into account, when we're considering some of these other things, which, guys, I'm not saying that we should break norms. I'm not saying we should nuke the filibuster, although it would help us. It would probably hurt us as well. I would be able to get a lot of the deportation stuff we would get done, but probably also get unfettered illegal immigration. God forbid a Democrat ever win the office of presidency ever again. But I'm just saying that, things are pretty bad right now.
All right.
Okay. And just to take that into consideration.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of lists of names, again, terrible transition compared to the Shadow Gov, but
that was a pretty good one.
Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty just uncovered the fact that over 41,000 registered Wisconsin voters are unconfirmed in Department of Transportation records. Now, if that last story didn't black pill you,
yeah, I'm definitely in a black pill mood right now.
This should be after knowing that, you consider the closeness of most elections in the state of Wisconsin. To know that there are 41,000 registered voters that aren't confirmed by any DOT record should be cause for concern.
The Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty just sent new findings to the U.S. Department of Justice about Wisconsin's voter rolls. Thanks to open records requests, we've discovered that thousands of voter records in Wisconsin can't be matched with data from the Department of Transportation. Now, that doesn't automatically mean these records are fraudulent, but it does mean there are serious gaps that the Wisconsin Elections Commission needs to address. Here's why this matters. WEC has a clear process for checking online voter registrations. But when it comes to paper or same-day registrations, there is a separate process, and WEC has not explained what the separate process actually is. So we're pushing for answers, because every Wisconsin voter deserves transparency and confidence that our elections are being handled the right way.
So that video that we just played was from Will. It was from Natalie Burmeister, who's an associate counsel at Will, explaining what's going on with those voter rolls. And, the reality is, there's a certain percentage of those that are just misspellings. There's some
honest mistakes.
No doubt about it. But that is not a reason to have 41,000 of these incomplete or unaccounted for, voters in Department of Transportation documents. So reading from the press release, Deputy Counsel Lucas Weber stated, WEC's response to questions from DOJ, Wisconsin legislature, and Will have been inadequate. Now we have discovered that over 11,000 voter registrations have no matching driver's license number to DOT records, a number that has doubled since 2020. That should sound alarm bells, but WEC continues to ignore the issue. Will remains committed to exploring this critical election security issue.
Well, and that is a problem in and by itself. But I think the video, which is why I wanted to play the video too, spelled it out pretty simply that the online registration forms it's pretty thorough, and we know what they're doing to check with DOT records. The in-person and same day, and there's quite a few same day registrations during these elections. That process on how they actually check with DOT, we just don't know what they do.
Right.
We just have to on our system, we're doing it. And, I'm not a libertarian. So I do try to trust the government sometimes, even though they will just say the opposite of what the government says, which is a stupid ideology. Anyway, that being said, we should know what they are doing to cross-reference these applications that are made in person and on the day. It's just tell us what it is. If you have a process, just let us know what it is. So again, we don't really have any answers. This is just kind of a, hey, guys, can you just tell us what you guys are doing so we can verify that people that are registering on the same day? And you would honestly think, although these 40,000 records, I don't know if they were necessarily created in the last 4 years or something, but if you look at the margin of victory for some of these races, a couple thousand votes here or there on election day can make a lot of difference. So I just think to ensure that everybody is not questioning elections,
and this,
just do your due diligence, WEC.
So this Will investigation of the Wisconsin Election Commission comes on the heels of a Wisconsin judge on Friday who put a hold on the order that requires election officials to verify the citizenship of all 3.6 million registered voters in Wisconsin before the next statewide election in February. So it looks like that case is not going to be resolved by the February or even April elections, and it's
sad.
Could go beyond 2026. And you think that the state court's Supreme Court's not gonna get involved in that one, or you think it's gonna not go the conservative way now? Just imagine what it's gonna be like when Maria Lazar isn't on the court.
Yeah, we can pretty much prejudge which cases are not gonna make it. Or again, as I've said it before as well, just wait till we get a 7-0 court, and then you're gonna get 3-4 split decisions where they're gonna seem like they're nonpartisan or something. So good luck.
So with that, Shadow Gov, should we get to a little candy for Halloween being today? But as folks,
I need it.
Yeah,
I need it. It's been a lot of black pilling today. So
Yeah.
I apologize. Just really got me going. I was going on a little bit of a monologue there. So
the listeners don't need to hear my voice the entire time. So I want to celebrate first an anniversary. So by the time listeners are downloading this program, it will have been 1 year, not since the historic election of Donald Trump, but 1 year since an Iowa poll came out from the Des Moines Register that Kamala Harris had leapfrogged Donald Trump to take the lead near Election Day. Now, this poll from Ann Selzer and the Des Moines Register said that Vice President Kamala Harris led former President Trump 47-44 among likely voters just days before the election. Now, Shadow Gov, we know that Donald Trump won just last year. Do you remember who won Iowa and by what percentage?
Well, I'm not a betting man, but if I had to really dig deep, gun to my head, Donald Trump by 10?
13. So that poll was off by 17, 18 points. Now that poll was so bad.
I don't even know if you can calculate that bad of a polling miss.
Yeah, so that poll was so bad that it ran Ann Selzer out of the polling world. It ended her career, and it was so bad that Donald Trump sued the Des Moines Register for election interference.
Well, this is my thing. I don't actually know if it was so bad that she quit. I honestly think that she knew she was going to quit, and she threw away her reputation and said, I'm going to try. I think it was election interference, where she did this on purpose, is to try to give fake momentum to Kamala before the election. And then she's just I'm going to retire anyway. I might as well just do one hack poll and try to see if I can influence the election.
I start to believe that more than just having a quote unquote big mess.
I don't even think that's a conspiracy. I think that's just kind of
completely destroyed the reputation of herself and the Des Moines Register's poll. So some local candy, Shadow Gov, just came out today, story in the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, reporting that what the hop needs? Unlike the aldermen in the city, they're saying that the hop needs to, they need to lobby President Trump and Sean Duffy to withdraw any funding that the state may get or the city may get for the hop. Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson is proposing to spend $90,000 to $105,000 per year on a PR person for the hop. Shadow Gov, could you take six figures to tweet nice things about Milwaukee's famed streetcar?
Yes, I would. It's very easy. Me like streetcar. Streetcar, good. Please ride streetcar.
That sounds like a little candy heart. You can make those at Valentine's Day.
Yeah, $105,000, please. Now, on a serious note, for those who don't know, the streetcar, this huge controversy about, which honestly I think is a little bit overblown.
It's been controversial since day one when Tom Barrett faked. Well,
this goes back all to 1999 with the long, or what was it? The rail line, the light rail line, into which then basically got boiled down to this streetcar, which a small kind of small potatoes, if you will, situation compared to a large light rail system, and it's kind of been a public works mess ever since, for the last decade or so. But just a thought though, if you need public dollars to repair an image of a government project gone awry, I mean, maybe just it sucks. Maybe the idea just sucks. Maybe the last 10 years wasn't enough evidence to show that this issue doesn't have staying power or doesn't have the ability to advocate for itself. I feel like government programs are pretty simple. They're either successful or they're not. And you can prove it. There should be metrics. Hey, this government program gave us, I don't know, better outcomes for children in school.
Right.
Maybe we should continue to fund it. Hey, this program did not demonstrably increase any net benefits for us. We actually lose money on the project. We should spend more money repairing its image, to lie to people, use tax dollars to lie to people that it's somehow okay and we should continue this.
Mm-hmm.
Just lunacy. I don't know why. Oh, gosh.
Well, Journal Sentinel reporter Vanessa Suarez has been spending enough time writing about the hop that maybe this is her way to a payday. And that's all this is her chance, her audition, if you will, for becoming PR director of the hop, just by plugging Journal Sentinel articles. And
well, to be fair, I am actually pleased that this was reported on. Although
it sounds like an advertisement to me.
Well, full disclosure, I didn't really read the article, but I see the headline and I think I see everything I pretty much need to know.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I don't know if this would have just kind of flown under the radar otherwise. So yeah, bad governing being patched up by more, and also $90,000 to $100,000. Yeah. It's a pretty good gig just to kind of try to lie to people
Tweet
about how
hop
this
good every other day or so.
Hop good, and just to kind of do these little marketing campaigns with.
Yeah.
Oh dear Lord, what a nightmare. Maybe that wasn't a great way to end, but
just a whole black pill episode. But with that, folks, hope your November is off to a great start. If you want to go back and check out some of our previous episodes, go check out our interviews with Scott Fitzgerald, David Barnum, Josh Showman. We have some great stuff coming up for you this month as we roll into the holiday season. So Shadow Gov, with that, we're out.